Hello and welcome to Pinocchio. If you've been in my classroom, you probably have seen this book, might have even read it. Do you know the story of Pinocchio? If you're like me, you've seen the Disney movie, and I used to think that I knew the story of Pinocchio because I'd seen the Disney movie. But if you've seen the Disney movie and have not read the book, you don't know the story. The Disney movie is fundamentally different and I think inferior to the book itself. So please join me as I read the book of Pinocchio to you, chapter by chapter. There we go. This is a book I picked up from eBay. It comes from the Las Vegas Clark County Library. It is an official discard. Students say, Mr. Marsh, you stole it from the library. No, I purchased it rightly. Let me read you the inside cover. Once upon a time, there was a piece of wood, a most extraordinary piece of wood that laughed and cried like a child. Out of that wood, Geppetto the carpenter carves a marionette with a laughing, saucy mouth and a long nose that grows even longer when he tells a lie. That he names Pinocchio. What a scamp that Pinocchio is. He naughtily pulls off Geppetto's wig, tries out his new legs, and races out the door in search of adventure. Pinocchio finds plenty of adventure, but he is so mischievous, so capricious, so very disobedient that despite the advice of a ghostly cricket and the beautiful blue fairy, he always seems to land in trouble. He is hoodwinked by thieves, tossed into jail, burned, drowned, caught in a trap, swallowed by a shark, even turned into a donkey. But Pinocchio is also kind-hearted and loving, which, if he can only learn to behave, may help him realize his great dream of becoming a real boy. For over 100 years, children from all over the world have delighted in the story of the irresponsible marionette who longed to become a real boy. This handsome new edition, imaginatively illustrated by Hans Christian Andersen Award winner Robert Ingpen, will introduce a new generation to this beloved classic. And so one of the primary reasons I actually bought this book was because of the artwork, and so I'm going to share that with you as I read. So let's begin and start taking a peek. There's the front cover. And then on the inside, here's some pictures of things that happen in the book. So there he is being carved. There he is looking up. There's a little adventure involving an egg and water being dumped on his head. And then he burns off his feet. I don't think that was in the Disney movie. Then he's got clothes and a school book. And then there's money involved. And then he's hung by the neck. Oh my. And then his nose is growing. And then he's walking. There he is caught in a trap. And there he is chained to a wall. And let's see here. There he is as a donkey. Here he is thrown into the ocean to drown. And then there he is carrying some pails. And then the very last one, that's him as a real boy. And of course, there's the official discard from the Las Vegas Clark County Library. Pinocchio. There's the inside front cover of the book. Now, let's take a look. Obviously, Pinocchio's in the center. Remember the cricket? There's a cricket in this story. There he is, the talking cricket. There's a bag full of coins. There's a donkey. Now, that's not Pinocchio. That's another donkey. And then here are the scoundrels, the fox and the cat lurking behind. And then there's the snail. I don't think there's the snail in the Disney movie at all, so I'll have to stay tuned to learn about that one. All right, so chapter 1, how it happened that Maestro Cherry Carpenter found a piece of wood that wept and laughed like a child. Centuries ago, there lived a king, my little readers will say immediately. No, children, you're mistaken. Once upon a time, there was a piece of wood. It was not an expensive piece of wood. Far from it. Just a common block of firewood, one of those thick, solid logs that are put on the fire in winter to make cold rooms cozy and warm. I do not know how this really happened, yet the fact remains that one fine day this piece of wood found itself in the shop of an old carpenter. His real name was Maestro Antonio, but everyone called him Maestro Cherry, for the tip of his nose was so round and red and shiny that it looked like a ripe cherry. As soon as he saw that piece of wood, Maestro Cherry was filled with joy. Rubbing his hands together happily, he mumbled half to himself, "This has come in the nick of time. I shall use it to make the leg of a table." He grasped the hatchet quickly to peel off the bark and shape the wood, but as he was about to give it the first blow, he stood still with arm uplifted, for he had heard a wee little voice say in a beseeching tone, "Please be careful. Do not hit me so hard." What a look of surprise shone on Maestro Cherry's face. His funny face became still funnier. He turned frightened eyes about the room to find out where that wee little voice had come from, and he saw no one. He looked under the bench. No one. He peeped inside the closet. No one. He searched among the shavings. No one. He opened the door to look up and down the street, and still no one. "Oh, I see," he then said, laughing and scratching his wig. "It can easily be seen that I only thought I heard the tiny voice say the words. Well, well, to work once more." He struck a most solemn blow upon the piece of wood. "Oh, oh, you hurt!" cried the same faraway little voice. Maestro Cherry grew dumb. His eyes popped out of his head. His mouth opened wide, and his tongue hung down on his chin. As soon as he regained the use of his senses, he said, trembling and stuttering from fright, "Where did that voice come from when there was no one around? Might it be that this piece of wood has learned to weep and cry like a child? I can hardly believe it. Here it is, a piece of common firewood, good only to burn in the stove, the same as any other. Yet might someone be hidden in it? If so, the worse for him. I'll fix him." With these words, he grabbed the log with both hands and started to knock it about unmercifully. He threw it to the floor, against the walls of the room, and even up to the ceiling. He listened for the tiny voice to moan and cry. He waited 2 minutes. Nothing. 5 minutes. Nothing. 10 minutes. Nothing. "Oh, I see," he said, trying bravely to laugh and ruffling up his wig with his hand. "It can easily be seen I only imagined I heard the tiny voice. Well, well, to work once more." The poor fellow was scared half to death, so he tried to sing a happy song in order to gain courage. He set aside the hatchet and picked up the plane to make the wood smooth and even. But as he drew it to and fro, he heard the same tiny voice. This time it giggled as it spoke. "Stop it! Oh, stop it, stop it! You tickle my stomach." This time poor Maestro Cherry fell as if shot. When he opened his eyes, he found himself sitting on the floor. His face had changed. Fright had turned even the tip of his nose from red to deepest purple. That is the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Maestro Cherry gives the piece of wood to his friend Geppetto, who takes it to make himself a marionette that will dance, fence, and turn somersaults. But that's Chapter 2. Stay tuned.